So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be doing another random opinions about random things. Some of y'all have told me that I should switch up my intro, and I agree, it's definitely given played out. So I definitely want to do like a little theme song, like, you know, cute little videos of me for my intros moving forward. Y'all remember when I used to do the Chioma Chats? Chioma Chats. Chioma Chats, Chioma Chats, Chioma Chats. Hey, that's back in the day. But I'm gonna bring that back because y'all are definitely right. So as stated before, we are doing random opinions about random things. I always have to give the disclaimer because for whatever reason, somebody's always mad about something. These are my opinions. They are not facts and they don't represent everything I think. They just represent my opinions in the moment. YouTube literally shows me at what points in my videos people are unsubscribing, and some of y'all are unsubscribing after like the first opinion. At least let me finish, okay? So with that being said, I do want to hear some of y'all's opinions down below, so make sure you guys leave a comment. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. So my first opinion is, I do think it's wrong to give somebody an ultimatum as to whether or not they're going to date you or marry you. But at the same time, I do think it's fair to tell somebody that if they don't do something that will fulfill you in a relationship, that you can walk away. You most definitely cannot force a relationship of any kind. A friendship, a romantic relationship, a business relationship, you can't force it. However, I believe that everyone does have the jurisdiction to personally walk away if something doesn't suit them. And part of that comes with an ultimatum, but I feel like it gets tricky because on one hand, I do understand that stating your standards and expecting someone to live up to them is fair, but I feel like if you even have to do that, you're probably in the wrong situation anyway. I don't think I should have to tell a guy who I've been dating for a while, let's say years, that they have to marry me right now unless I'm walking away. Granted, don't stay in a relationship for a while knowing that you want marriage and you're not getting it. It's definitely something to bring up, but if you feel as though somebody isn't ready to evolve or is going to evolve to the next stage of a relationship, usually the actions speak louder than the words, to the point where you shouldn't even have to give them an ultimatum. Take things for surface value and proceed to find what suits you. When it comes to dating, and guys, one thing I've learned within my 20s is that take things for surface value. A lot of men in their 20s are bullshitters. They're not ready, they want to waste time because their biological clock doesn't tick. And this has given me a lot more discernment on making sure I don't waste my time with people who don't have the same relationship goals that I do. A lot of this stuff can somewhat be figured out at the beginning of a relationship if you ask the right questions, so make sure that you are grilling these people on their intentions with you, but always believe the actions. There's no need for an ultimatum, simply believe the actions. My next opinion is, and this one is probably going to be triggering, trigger warning, I feel like a lot of these three-letter rap monikers increase the violence with hip-hop. So all of the NBA, YSL, 4PF, YBN, OTF, GBE, 432, that's not a letter, but y'all get the point. I feel like all of this has been the demise of rap and hip-hop. I always talk about female rappers. Well, we're going to talk about the male rappers today. As much as I do feel that female rap has influenced a lot of young women in certain negative ways, I'm not going to sit up here and act like male rap isn't worse, because I think it is. Female rap brings out the sexuality and the mindset that you should do whatever it takes to get money out of a man by any means necessary, whether it's by finessing, sexual escapades, or whatever. But male rappers are way worse. All of these three-letter and three-digit groups that are really people's hoods that they've now glamorized and publicized to millions of people have infiltrated rap music, and I blame them for why there is way more violence than there used to be. NBA Youngboy and Lil Durk, to me, are the top two perpetrators of this nonsense. Really all they rap about is killing, really all they rap about is violence, really all they rap about is hood culture. And of course they have other songs, but I mean like primarily. And I feel like although they have taken some responsibility for being influential, they're not going to stop to better suit the narrative that rap music could have. Part of me doesn't feel as though they are wrong for rapping about some things they have done or experienced or have lived through, because it is their story and it is authentic. And for some people it is relatable, but when it becomes your entire personality and your entire identity to millions of people worldwide, I have to call it what it is. I have talked about how violent and how detrimental a lot of things in rap music has been, and people have always agreed with me. People have always said, why do you talk more about the female rappers versus the male rappers, even though male rappers are worse? And the simple answer to that is that this is a woman's channel. It's for females. So I let men do their thing for the most part, unless I should really speak up on it. But nonetheless, going back to when I made that comment saying that Afrobeats has become very popular worldwide within the last few years, people literally attacked me to say that it's because of rap music here in America that it's this popular. And I strongly disagree. I think what it is that, of course, the collaborations with rap artists in America have made an appeal in America to the American market. But most of these big name Afrobeat stars are international, world-renowned stars that are way more known outside of America. I mean, Wizkid even has more Instagram followers than Lil Durk. Afrobeats is very popular. But back to my point, I feel as though the reason why Afrobeats has also been able to get a big push is because the violent nature of rap and hip-hop as it appears globally has gone overboard, and it has caused a lot of violence. There's people who have lost their life because of their previous affiliations and then promoting it through rap music. Literally between NBA YoungBoy and Lil Durk, King Von is no longer alive. Not gonna speak too much on that. But furthermore, there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of young black boys in America who are looking up to all of these rappers and living vicariously through them in real time and in real life. And people are realizing that it is rap music that literally influences them to behave this way more than they would in previous years. And before anybody tries it, no, I'm not saying that this is why Afrobeats is better or worse than rap and hip hop. I'm saying that when it comes to music that is being promoted by a black ethnicity, I feel as though the reason why rap music is super popular, but at the same time, there's a change that is happening, is because it's gotten way too violent, and the people who are pushing this are getting burnt out and played out, and will soon enough have way too many legal issues that will allow for other examples of black music to be popular. I swear I want to do a whole video on this. But we also see that Young Thug, who represents YSL, is currently battling a RICO charge, which is pretty much a charge for organized crime. And you can be the biggest Young Thug fan in the world if you want to, but don't disregard why he has had possible charges brought against him. And I see this happening for a lot of other artists that have these 3-letter and 3-digit monikers tied to themselves, and their demise is very possible. And whether you want to believe it or not, outside of America, when people think of rap or hip hop, let alone black American culture through music, they see violence, they see the rapper aesthetic, they see all of that, and that's all they see. They're not going to know as deeply as you or I that there are different parts of black music that can be promoted here in the States. And you can't even deny this, because we even talk about how there are so many underground female rap artists who don't get the recognition that they deserve because they're not pushing the narrative of being overtly sexual. And the same thing kind of goes for male rap music as well. If you're not pushing violence, you're really not getting the push. Even with rap and hip hop, of course you have J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, and as much as they are respected and well known, you don't hear them trending as much as all of these degenerate rappers for any reason. It's because violence and crime is promoted through all of these rappers to the entire world, and it's definitely been so influential and even so trendy and popular that the narrative surrounding hip hop has increased violence everywhere. My next opinion is Danyel Lay has actually been previewing some decent music. Not the best I've heard, but it's really not that bad. I just heard her song Tasty and I thought it was okay. I feel like the comments were super biased because it really wasn't that bad. Like I said, it actually reminded me of the song OTW by Jhené Aiko, but just like a little bit more sped up. And I feel like if Jhené Aiko was to put this song out, everybody would love it. Despite Danyel Lay's "Yellow Bone is all he wants" comments and all of the controversy from years back, I do see the girl trying to move on and trying to hone back in on her craft, which is pretty much the only thing she should be doing. I don't think anybody has ever negated the fact that Danyel Lay is talented. She is a great dancer, she has a cool voice for R&B, and I do think that she works for her success. I just think she got caught up with the wrong man and literally tainted a lot of her career. I also feel like Danyel Lay is a lesson to a lot of women, especially if you're going into an industry in which your physical talents have to speak louder than anything else. Don't get involved with degenerate men who have no respect, who have a history of disrespecting women, and honestly don't date a rapper. I mean, I'm not gonna tell anybody what to do, but I feel like that whole situation between Danyel Lay and DaBaby was just a stain on her entire reputation that will really never go away. Some people were completely written off by the Yellow Bone comments and will no longer listen to her, support her, or follow her, or just be interested in her. And I think that's absolutely fair. You can't play with something like colorism. But I will acknowledge that I feel like some of the new music that I've been hearing for previewing is okay. There's a lot of people that just dislike it because of her past comments, which is completely fair. But looking at this with an unbiased view, some of the music she has been previewing are pretty cool R&B bops. I just hope that she has learned her lesson, and I definitely think she did. My next opinion is sexual expression most definitely is dependent on the type of body it is being presented on. For example, Coi Leray recently posted some very explicit photos on her Instagram, and of course as she has a banging body, I've always supported Coi Le'Rae's body because it's her and it's natural. However, let's be real. There's a difference of perception when Coi Le'Rae posts herself in something like this versus if it was somebody like Lizzo in a more voluptuous body. Even one that meets the societal standards for women's bodies gets ridiculed harder than a body like Coi Le'Rae for sexual expression. I feel like either way, whether it's a petite body, average body, top heavy, bottom heavy, big booty with big titties, little booty with little titties, whatever combination that you have as a woman, it doesn't matter the size. The same expression is the same expression. And society does pick and choose when they want to be up in arms about certain displays of what women wear and how they present themselves due to body type. My next opinion is the reason why people think certain people are dark skinned when they're not, or light skinned when they're not, is because black people claimed biracial people as black. Let me let that simmer. So there was this conversation on Twitter about a few months ago. I really wish I could find the thread, but I'm not about to look that far. But the color classification spectrum has changed. There are people who are blatantly light skinned, but because they're not as fair skinned as somebody with racial ambiguity, such as a Saweetie or a Lotto or even Cardi B, they get called something that they are not. These women get labeled as light skinned and they're not even black. And to be honest, I feel like the classification of light skin, brown skin, dark skin is more correlated to the black race because that's just how it's always been. But when you allow non-black people to infiltrate black spaces, you're now altering or in a way misshaping the visual spectrum of what all of these people are classified as within their skin tone. I think I made a comment on a video like a year ago and I said that Blueface was light skin, and the amount of people that told me that Blueface was brown skin was crazy to me because no, he's not. Because no. Blueface would never get called a brown skinned man 10 years ago. But because biracials are considered black to a lot of people, or at least even if they're not, they live in black spaces and get determined as black, the spectrum has changed. Whether you think Blueface is brown skin or light skin is up to you, but I don't think he classifies as somebody with my complexion, and I'm definitely brown skin. That's another thing. I've always been called a brown skin girl. People have always referred to me as brown skin, and of course I do say that I'm on the darker end or I'm darker because I'm not light skin, but I know I'm brown skin. Depending on the context and maybe the location of where I am, some people may say I'm darker skin, but in reality, if you see me in person or on YouTube, I'm clearly a brown skin girl. But I've now gotten transferred to the dark skin realm because I feel like this generation or this current society has shifted the spectrum of skin shade classifications. It doesn't bother me either way. I know what I look like, but over the years, the classifications have definitely altered, and I don't think it does black people a favor, but I think it's definitely what is going on right now. And I don't say this to be offensive to biracial people. I just think it's fair to give biracial people their own classification because I don't think it's right to neglect the two races that made you who you are, even if you do have more relation to one side or the other. Black people got a lot of problems, but one thing I will say is that the classification of skin tone as of 2023 is not the same classifications that we had back in the day. My next opinion is vlogs have gotten boring. So the other day I was watching somebody's vlog, and this is somebody who was really popular on YouTube for vlogging back in the day. So I caught one of her videos and I was just watching it, and I feel like people don't give a damn about people's lives anymore. Like, it was kind of infatuating from like 2016 to 2019, maybe even 2020, because that was the era of viewers living vicariously through their favorite content creators and influencers. It was interesting for us to watch people's lives who were either doing better than us, had more connections, or just had a certain aesthetic that we were either trying to achieve or just found interesting. But I feel like for the most part, people really don't care about vlogs unless it's short and straight to the point, it has a main theme, and the people are entertaining. But I feel like because the whole influencer, rich girl aesthetic, luxury, soft girl era type of wave is not as appealing anymore, I feel like a lot of vlogs got boring. Granted, there are other channels with other themes, but just in regards to what usually appeals to teenagers and young women, I feel like vlogs are just overall boring now. Maybe that, or maybe our attention spans are so low that if it's not given to us in a 60-second package, we don't care that much. I find it very hard for me to watch a video all the way through, and I haven't been able to watch a vlog in a long time and be thoroughly entertained. My next opinion is JOSELIN'S Cabaret season 3 was actually a pretty good season. I literally said I wouldn't watch the next season after season 2 because Jocelyn was so rude, she was so demoralizing, so demeaning, and she did not speak to those women as if they were even human. I feel like Jocelyn Hernandez actually heard all of the people's complaints. Granted, at the season 3 reunion, there was a whole thing with her versus one of the contestants named Amber, as well as Jocelyn's husband Ballistic. And Amber alleged that Ballistic put his hands on her, ripped off her wig, and other things. And I will never condone that. However, I made that video about that situation before I ever even watched season 3. And when I went back and watched it, I'm not saying that Amber deserved for a man to put his hands on her. No woman does. But Amber was the antagonist of the show, and her attitude was so disgusting disgusting and so irritating that I can kind of see why Jocelyn wanted to fight her. Like, she was just the worst girl on that season. Outside of that though, the season had way more structure and way more purpose. I watched it a while ago, so I don't remember everything, but I do recall that for the most part, the girls could dance. And I feel like the challenges were a lot better to actually lead them up to the actual cabaret. It seems that Zeus Network needs like 3 seasons for their shows to get really good, because even this 3rd season of Baddies West was actually way better than the first 2, and the same thing went for Jocelyn's Cabaret. I actually do want to watch season 4 of Jocelyn's Cabaret just because I want to know what else she can do at this point. I want to know if she's even going to have a different personality or approach that isn't as demeaning, because I feel like those comments after season 2 definitely got to her and she toned it down a little bit for season 3. Also, she didn't invite back Aqua, the girl who Big Lex referred to as double homicide and also fought her. Didn't Jocelyn invite her to be in season 3? I don't believe she was in season 3, so what happened to that? If anybody knows, let me know. But overall, she definitely had a better season in season 3. It's still the same BS ratchet drama and some of the girls can't dance, but for the most part, I think a lot of the girls actually had pole dancing talent, and I do think that the show got better with time. My next opinion is a lot of women in their 20s are delusional when it comes to what they expect a man their age and their ability to do for them when it comes to romantic relationships. I believe in hypergamy 1000%. I believe in dating up, dating a man who is equal, if not better than you in so many different categories, whether that's finances, life goals, connections, you name it. But I feel like there's a lot of women in their 20s who expect other men who are also in their 20s to be established as if they're in their 40s, and I think it is a little bit delusional. So I came across this thread on Twitter and I 1000% agree with it, so here it goes. It says, social media has warped the minds of a lot of people to the point where y'all are living in an alternate reality that tells you that men in their 20s are supposed to fund their young adult lives as well as funding ours, and it's just not realistic. Please wake up. A lot of men in our age group are still figuring out their goals just as we are. Y'all aren't even married to these men. You just have a wet ass every now and then and think he's supposed to dish out rent, bags, hair, and nails just because you say so. Sister, it's okay to have a job. You're dating Jonathan the IT specialist, not G Herbo. Just be for real with yourself, my love. Work on yourself. Please get a damn job as well. I'm not saying men shouldn't treat women, but I'll be damned if I'm begging a man for everything. I have degrees and a career. Men should absolutely treat women they like/love, but also I need y'all to act like your parents/guardians raised you to do more than have your hand out. Agree, disagree, don't care. LMFAO, it's bummy. Then I guess after she said this, people were coming for her. So she said, also, hopping in my DM to defend your right as a bum is still not going to get you a reply. I see nothing wrong with men taking care of their girlfriends and wives as they see fit. I've never not had a man do that for me. I said, y'all bummy for always having your hand out. I'm not changing it. Get a job, LMFAO. Matter of fact, get a career. We are in our 20s and the chances of you meeting Dirk and having him finance your life at 26 is slow. I build resumes for free. And there you have it, folks. I agree. I don't agree with everything, but I definitely agree with the point. I agree with the fact that when you're dating a guy, he should definitely treat you. You should feel as if your man does nice things for you. But there are a lot of women in their 20s that are warped by social media to the point where they think a man who is also in their 20s, who has similar education or similar careers as them, can give them the rapper baby mama lifestyle. And I'm sorry, that is not true. My mom always told me to cut my coat according to my size. And some of y'all are a size extra small trying to cut a 3X coat. And like I said, I'm all for hypergamy. So if you do get a man who does have that much financial surplus to give you that, I'm not mad at you and I'm not hating on you. I'm even going to support you. But I don't think it's the average experience, let alone common enough for men in their 20s who are also building. Social media has definitely made a lot of women feel as though they are entitled. I'll never say that someone doesn't deserve a rich man, but I do think it's impractical to expect someone that is just like you, making average money, average career, average education, to give you exponentially more. Come back to reality, please. My next opinion is the majority of Birkin bags are basic looking. I don't get the hype. I have designer bags that to me are better quality and better looking than a Birkin. Some of the ones that are a little bit more fancy, such as the ones with the snake print or whatever, are interesting, but what makes a Birkin is simply the name. I feel like in order to even make a Birkin look nice, your outfit has to be nice and the bag is supposed to complement or match the outfit, since for the most part they just come in different colors and sizes versus different patterns, different designs, and different textures. Like, I feel like Gucci has better bags that are more unique, and I think I have like 2 or 3 Gucci bags. I'm not super into bags, but I do like bags, and I think Birkin is literally just a name. Birkin is what celebrities, rappers, Instagram models, and even rapper baby mamas have told y'all is the best, when in reality it's really just an exclusive club for rich people to have another boost of their social status. I don't think it's about the bag, I think it's about the name and the exclusivity. In order to get a Birkin, you either have to buy it off of somebody, or to get something brand new, you have to purchase several items from Hermes, and after a few years or so of doing that, they then invite you to purchase a Birkin bag for them. And I believe the bags are like 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, like they're very expensive. So you basically have to collect box tops until you reach a certain amount that they deem is acceptable. If you ask me, it sounds like a Ponzi scheme for rich people. My last opinion is, I feel like Beyonce is looked at as a god to some people. She's not overhyped. She definitely deserves recognition for her talent, but it is very off-putting to see how anything goes in regards to Beyonce. It's like Beyonce can do no wrong, and she's very mysterious to the point where you don't even know what type of person she is. And somehow this is a plus to her fan base. It's weird. Flat out. I think Beyonce is obviously a musical legend, but it's funny how little she has to do to connect with her fans, and still she's placed on a pedestal as if she's a god. Part B to this opinion is that I think Beyonce's fan base exemplifies idol worship. And I could say that about a lot of different artists, but Beyonce in particular is the most synonymous with idol worship, especially because she doesn't have much direct relation to her fans, let alone the general public, which is crazy to me. Like, of course, this is a horrible example, but I feel like a lot of the critique with an artist like Normani is that she doesn't connect with her fan base. She doesn't really speak to her fans, connect with them, have any type of transparency with her fans. And of course, Beyonce has put in years of work all this time to the point where she used to do that and maybe doesn't have to as much now, but she doesn't do it at all. I don't remember how Beyonce ended up being this godlike type of figure in music. I mean, I remember Destiny's Child, and I remember when she went solo, and it's just very interesting to say the least. I don't blame Beyonce, I blame the fan base, because of course, she's a very talented performer and artist, but I don't recall people having this type of praise for other artists that have the same legendary status as her. Maybe it's because we're in the digital era, maybe it's because of her entire relationship and how it's presented to the public. I don't know, but I do think that it is kind of weird that people look at Beyonce as some type of god. I'm not gonna get too deep into this before this video gets demonetized, but I feel like that's why people think the music industry is very demonic, because a lot of people are treated as godly figures, and it's completely your preference, but I myself only serve one god. So it's weird to me personally to see people fan out for Beyonce in the way that they do. I still do think that she's one of the greatest artists ever, regardless of genre, but between her and maybe some other artists, the fandoms are very synonymous with idol worship, and I'm gonna be real, it's weird. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If you haven't already, go stream my song Ceremony. It is out on all platforms, and the link is in the description box down below. And lastly, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.